Hello and welcome. Today we are going to draw a unicorn. So the first step is to add a layer. Now I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to put it at about a 2 with black. And I'm going to take my line tool and I am going to draw a line like this. Then I'm going to draw another line like that. Now I'll take my shape tool, I'll select ellipse, and I will select draw shape outline. And I'm going to make a small circle, just like that, and a little bit up like that. Then I'll take my circle tool, and I will make another circle, just like this, and move it up about right there. Then I'll take my circle tool again, and draw another circle, just like that, and stretch it like that. I'll take my line tool, and from about here, stretch it down, and out, and from about here, stretch it like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'll take my eraser, set it to 10, I'll zoom in, and I'm going to clean up this and this right here. I'm going to get rid of this. I'll leave this part of the circle till about here, and I'll continue around like this to about like this, and just clean that up. Take this down a little bit, zoom out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'll take my line tool and I will separate this out because I'm only doing the head today, so we can leave that as a border. Take my circle tool again, set it to 2. Gonna add a layer. Gonna set my settings to draw filled shape with outline. I've got black as my primary, white as my secondary, and I'll draw a line like that, and another one like this. Okay. Then I'll take my pen or my paintbrush at 2. I'll make a loop like this, and a loop like that. Then I'll set my paintbrush higher to about a 7, and I'll go like that, and I'll bring it down to about a 5, just like that. Shrink it down to about a 4. Make some dots down there. I'll take my paintbrush, I'll set it to 20, put a dot there, set it to about 15, put a dot there. Now I'll take my shape tool with ellipse. This time I'll make sure that I've got selected draw shape outline only, and I will adjust my width back down to 2. I'll make a pointy shape like that. And then I will take my eraser, bring it up to 10, and I'll erase the excess like this. Okay. Now I'm going to add a layer. I'll take my paintbrush, and I'll select 2 for the size. And now I'm going to create the mane, just like this. Then as you come down the neck, you want it to be a little bit more pronounced. And then you want to come here like this. Okay, so we're going to go further, and I'm going to take my eraser, set it to 10, go back to my original layer, and I'm going to erase this neckline, because I no longer need it. Okay? I'm going to erase this headline right here, also no longer needed. Then I'm going to go to layer 3, where the ears are, and the eyes and those details. And I am going to erase this part right here, and this right here. I'm going to go to the main level, which is right there, and I'm going to erase this right there. And now I'm going to compress all of this back down into one layer. I'm going to take my shape tool, I'm going to add a layer, I'm going to change my size to 2, and make sure that it is set for shape with no fill. And I'm going to make a long, skinny shape like that. And I'm going to stretch it about like this. And I want it to come out just about in line with where he's looking or she's looking, like this. Now I'll zoom in. I'll take my line tool. I'll set it for 2. And I'll draw a line across right about here. I'll round it up, just like that. Then I'll take my eraser, set it to 10, and erase this bottom part. I'll then go to layer 2, and I'll erase everything that's inside of this shape that I just filled. Careful not to go beyond the line outside the shape. Just like that. Okay. So now let's add some color. We'll bring these layers back down so we only have one layer. We'll take our magic wand tool, and we'll select just the horse's head. I'll take my fill, and I will make this unicorn purple. Lighten it up a little bit. Maybe even lighter than that. That looks good. Now I'll take my paintbrush, I'll bring it up in size, I'll make it about a 35. I'll take dark, and I'll darken underneath in these lower areas right here. Darken along the line of the mane. Darken in the head area. Darken around the bottom of the nose. Then I'll take my purple again, but now I'll make it lighter. I'll put light here. Just like that. Now I'll take the last little bit, I'll take white, and I'll put it about a 10. I'll take my line tool. Now I'm going to go to my line tool, and I'm going to toggle rounded. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to toggle rounded. So now when I make a line, it's going to have a rounded end to it, see? And I'm going to make 2 lines like that. And a line here, and a line here, and a line right there. Then I'm going to go to Edit, Cut, Edit, Paste into New Layer, Effects, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And I'm going to blur this together until I like the way it looks. I think that looks good. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste into New Layer, Edit, Paste into New Layer, Edit, Paste into New Layer. And now I'll take layer 6, 5, 4, and 3 and merge them all back down into one. And I'm going to call that layer Color. And I'm going to call layer 2 Outline. I'm going to go back to Outline, and I'm going to select the mane. Now there's a problem. You see here, this mane doesn't connect. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to take my eraser, and I'm going to make it about a 2. And I am going to hit Control D, and I'm going to clean up this little spot right here so that there's a channel. Then I'm going to take my line tool with black and stretch a line right there. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to stretch a line, take my eraser, erase a channel, erase a channel. Now, I'll add a layer, and I think I make the mane kind of pinkish. So I'll select the pink I want, I'll select my bucket, and I'll fill it. Then I'll take my pen with 2 selected, and I'll add a lighter version of that pink. And I'll just make some lines like this. And then maybe add some purple into this, different colors like that. Add some white. Okay. And maybe a little bit of sort of this magenta red color just for highlights. Okay, good. Now we're going to go to Effects, we're going to go to Distort, and we're going to go to Dents. I'm going to dent this, I'm going to bring everything down to 0. And what I'll do is I'll start with the scale, and I'll move it up to about a 22, and then I'll bring the refraction up a little bit. I'll bring the tension up a little bit, and I'll bring the roughness up a little bit. The quality. Just like that. So I like the way it looks. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. So I've got about a 40 on the scale, a 24 or so on the refraction, a 35 or 36 on the roughness, 5 on the tension, and 2 on the quality. Now I'll go to Effects, I'll go to Blur, and I'll go to Gaussian Blur. That's too much, so I'm going to bring it down to 0, and I'm going to slowly walk it up until I like the way it looks. Right about there. So that's about a 3. I hit OK. Now I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to bring layer 5 and tuck it underneath layer 4, and I'm going to take pink, and I'm going to fill it, just like that. Now I'll tuck the color layer into layer 4, and then layer 4 into layer 5. And I'll rename that color. Okay. Now I'll take my color layer, I'll zoom in, and I want to fix this now. So I go to my outline layer, Control D to deselect everything. I take my eraser, set it to a bigger size, and I just erase this channel here. Select the color layer, do the same thing. Okay. Now I take my outline layer and my line tool, I set it back to 2, take my black, and I reconnect this line, just like that. Maybe take a little bit more off of this color line like that. There you go. Okay. Now we've also got to do these ears, so I'm going to make some details on them. The first thing I'm going to do is take my black line tool, go to my outline layer, come up like this, and then come down like that. The other side we don't have to worry about because it's facing the other way. Now I'm going to go to my color layer. I'm going to grab this color, and take my fill, I'm going to go back to my outline layer, and fill the ear, and fill that ear. I'm going to take a pink color, fill the inside of this ear, until I like what it looks like. I think that looks good. Maybe I'll take a little bit of darkness, increase the opacity, increase my brush size to about 13, and do like that. Okay. So far looking pretty good. The last detail we're going to worry about now is this horn. So I'm going to take my magic wand tool, select outline, select the horn. Now I need to figure out what kind of color. So I think I'll make this kind of some sort of a bluish theme. So I'll take my fill tool, I'll add a layer, and I will select a blue like that. Maybe I'll select it a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more there. And then I'll come up here to this color slider and make it a little bit more like a purplish color. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay. The next thing I'll do is I'll take my line tool. It's set to 13. I think I'll bring that down to about a 4. And I'm going to take a darker version of that color. And I'm going to make lines just like this. Now you're going to do the opposite. You're going to take a whiter color. I'm going to bring the opacity down, and I'm going to make it about like that. Okay, now you're going to go to Effects, you're going to go to Blur, and you're going to go to Gaussian Blur. And you're going to blur these things together. Just like that. Very slight blur, not too strong. Okay. Then you're going to go to Edit, Copy, Edit, paste into a new layer, edit, paste into a new layer, and then you're going to go layer 6, 5, and 4. You're going to bring them all back together with merge. Okay. What I'm do now is I'll take everything and crunch it back down into the outline layer. Now we've got one solid layer. Come in with my zoom. I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to select the darkest version of this horn color. Make it less see-through. And then I'll bring my brush size to 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace and give this horn some shape, just like this. Now, take your dropper and select that middle color. And now come back down and fill out these spaces. See? So you don't want to have that look of the line still there. So you want to eliminate that inner line now by doing this. And there you have it, a unicorn.